the prophet Joel here tells us some incredible lessons that each of us must learn how to handle crisis in our lives. But the first thing you notice about Joel's message, he is saying something that would be an absolute anathema to us in the 21st century, and I'm going to explain to you how. Because in times of crisis, none of us want somebody to tell us that it's going to get worse. And that's what he's doing here. Because you would think that in times of crisis and the times of pain, you want somebody who will say to you, "Oh, there, don't worry your pretty little head." Right? You want somebody to say, "Hey, it's going to get better. It's bound to get better. Just look up. After all, every cloud has a silver lining. Be happy, don't worry. All you have to do is you name and claim prosperity, and it will be yours." Isn't that what we're supposed to do in times of crisis? And yet, Joel goes in the opposite direction to what everything we would expect, everything that we would want. He goes in the opposite direction. And he says, "I know that your economic devastation is bad. I know that you have lost a large percentage of your portfolio. But this is nothing in comparison of the day of judgment that is coming upon the world." I must confess, I wanted to say to him, "Joel, baby, give me a break. This is not the time to speak of the coming future judgment. This is not the time for negative preaching. This is not a time of doom and gloom." And Joel would say, "Listen to me. I'm giving you what God said. I'm not giving you my ideas and my opinions. I'm not here to just pat you on the back and give you some sob. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to tell you what God said." And he would be saying to us, "Listen, if you think that a little bit of economic hiccup has got you all bent out of shape and bamboozled, what will you do when the real deal comes about? How will you handle the big one? How are you going to be prepared for the day of judgment?" Now, thankfully, he does not leave us high and dry, but he tells us exactly what to do in tough times. He tells us what God wants us to do in tough times. He's telling us what to do in times of crisis. And Joel wants us to know that every crisis, whether it's in our lives individually, in our family, or in a national level, or on a global level, every crisis ought to be a dress rehearsal for the day to come, for the big one. That every crisis that we face must be a reminder for every one of us that the big day of judgment is coming.